Let me help you guys solve that once and for all. Okay? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Again, like the psychological reason why you guys avoid to make pain is I don't know why you guys are afraid of asking awkward questions. Well, I do know why you're afraid of asking awkward questions. And again, if you feel like you've understood what I'm saying, I remind you again because you clearly haven't internalized it. Stop trying to be friends with people. You're here to help them and make money. And if you didn't know, you don't make money by helping somebody, right? Like that's not how you make money. Sorry, you don't make money by being friends with somebody. You make money by helping them. And so you don't help them by being friends with them. You help them by actually helping them with what they have as a problem. So, no, flipping heck, it didn't save. We're gonna have to go through the video together, which is gonna be funny. We're gonna be watching video together. All right, bismillah. I'm not obviously gonna play the video. No, actually, I might as well play the video.
Is that
Let me
you?
make sure it shares this as well. Pardon?
Is that you, Fedi?
You saying is this me? No, I'm there in the top right corner, Adam. Come on now.
Oh,
Right.
I was gonna say.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm going to show you today. Can you guys hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Obviously, this is a YouTube video. You might as well watch the video as well. But I'm just going to show you like what you guys need to understand. It's 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and then we can ask questions about this, inshallah. How you're going to potentially double your closing rate by just adding the extra amount of pain in the first 5 minutes. Because I'm going to be honest with you here, this will generally help your closing rate. Generally, if you apply it. But the thing I need to remember from this whole thing that I'm going to show you, inshallah, is that people buy to get out of pain not because they like you, not because you made them laugh, not because your offer was so good, but because they're in pain. They're in so much pain that they're thinking, I need to give this guy my money, and you should be thinking, I want to change this guy's life. So if you want to change people's lives, if you want to help them as much as possible, you need to get them into pain, right? And the first 5 minutes is how I'm going to show you to do this. The first 5 minutes of your sales call is going to double your closing rate because the first 5 minutes of the sales call usually dictates how the sales call ends. So let's just literally jump right in. That's you in the left-hand corner, right? Going, what motivated you to join the call today, John? And John typically will say something along the lines of, well, I just wanted to see what you guys do, right? No matter what you sell, this is what John's going to flipping say. And you might go, awesome. And that's it. And then just move on with the sales call, right? But from now on, what you're actually going to start saying is, cool, that makes sense, John. You know, obviously I reached out to you and got you here with my pesky follow-ups, you know, add a little bit of humor. Based on the information I had sent you, what interested you enough to have this conversation with me, right? And then John's going to tell you something that, again, isn't him revealing any sort of pain. And he might go something along the lines of, well, I liked your offer. I thought it could be interesting. And then you might say, was there anything in particular that you liked about our offer or that you thought was interesting? You mentioned you could bring me X. So in this case, I'm going to go with clients, but for you, it could be anything, right? You mentioned you could bring me more clients. You mentioned you can bring me 5 clients the next month. Okay, cool. Is getting clients a priority for you at the moment? Yes, it is. Still, he's not really in a lot of pain, right? So this is what you're going to follow up with. This is going to start building their pain. Well, I assume you didn't wake up one day wanting to just get more clients, John. What was the story behind it being a priority? Well, he might say something along the lines of, well, the story that highlights it, you might say, you know, we were talking to our board of directors and we were looking at the revenue and the revenue wasn't as high as we wanted it to be. We currently have a big client base, but we need to just sign clients that are more sophisticated, or we need to sign clients who are, you know, let's say higher ticket, in this case for coaches or whatever it would be. We need to sign high ticket clients because our profit margins are shrinking. So now he's building pain. He's giving you a reason why as well. Okay. So the pain is being built. And remember, humans think in stories. So we don't generally think in like logic. We think in stories. And so by asking for a story, you're going to get the reason, right? You're going to get what actually motivated him, what he's been thinking about for the last 6 months, year, whatever it would be, right? That makes sense, John. And how long has getting higher ticket clients or getting more enterprise clients, or how long has the revenue been an issue for? 6 months now. Again, he's in creating more pain for himself. And so is it fair to say that in this call, John, you hope to find a way to solve this revenue issue? You hope to find a way to consistently sign clients? Yes, exactly. Awesome. I'm going to ask you a few questions to get a better understanding of your business, and then you're going to continue setting the agenda. My point is, though, at this point...
Oh, Fedi, we can't hear you.
I was muted. So you guys get the point. I'll build on it a little bit more just to give you an understanding of what I wanted to say in the video as well for the rest of it. It's basically that in the first 5 minutes, if you don't have a direct answer of why they're on the call, and if you don't build pain in the first 5 minutes, all the questions you ask later on become useless. They don't become useless because they're literally like not useful as in they're not going to build pain, but they become useless because the prospect is going to stay in the frame that they created for themselves in the first 5 minutes. Now, in the first 5 minutes, if their frame is, I'm here because I know this guy's going to help me solve my problem, the way they answer the questions later on, the way they answer those emotional questions, such as, what's really behind you wanting to fix up the revenue right now? Typically, right? Like, typically CEOs are going to be losing sleep over what the board members are saying. Is that your case, John? Yeah, man, like it's stressful at home. I just want to retire in the next 2 years, and currently I can't leave the company unless I get this specific quota. My point is, the frame you started with is the frame you'll end with. And if the frame you started with is completely unprofessional, which listening to your sales calls, and I say this to everybody here because I've listened to every single one other than Mahem, Assalamu alaikum Mahem Ukhti. Other than Mahem, I've listened to every single one of you guys' sales calls at least once. Maybe not Luqman, off the top of my mind. Dolga, I've listened to yours. Yunus, I've listened to yours. Adam, I've listened to yours. Sierra, I've listened to yours. None of you sound very professional at the start. Again, why? You guys believe there's a gap between you and your prospects. You guys believe they're better than you. You believe they're more of an authority than you. You believe you're still this beginner who's trying to learn everything. You don't believe you have any value to offer, basically. If you speak to somebody, you speak to them because you want their money, not because you think you can change their life. Again, you go into the sales call. I'm giving you the mindset stuff behind all of this, right? If you go into a sales call thinking, I don't know if I can help this guy, but I do want to make money, what does that say about you? Like subconsciously, what are you saying to yourself? You're saying to yourself, I don't deserve this money. Because you're a good person. You want to help people. You don't just want to make money for the sake of making money. And so you have to come into the sales call with this mentality, right? And this is how you do it. You go, who am I? To this person, who am I? I'm a person who can solve their problem. And clearly they're on this sales call with me because there's an information gap between what they know and what I know and what I can do for them and what they can do for themselves. So I'm the authority figure in this case. And because you're the authority figure, you should command that respect and try and build pain and not be afraid of building the pain in the first place. So I say that just as a little kind of um, extra point. Let's see if I can turn on my light properly because Maghrib's going to come in soon. But on the point of building pain, the more you learn to build pain, the easier the sales calls will go. The more you will enjoy selling as well. Just in general, you'll enjoy selling more because you're like, oh, cool. At least I helped this person. I built pain. They were honest with me. I got to know somebody on a deeper level. Something that people don't really like about me, they like it and they don't like it. Because when I first meet people, all I do is just ask them questions that build pain. Like one of the first questions I ask people in general, if I don't already know it, is, what's your life goal? What's your purpose in life? What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? Um, And being a bit honest here, right? Being transparent. Anytime I've spoken to a sister with the hopes of getting to know her to potentially get married, if she can't answer that question, or if her answer is just like I don't understand it, or like it's I don't think it aligns with me, it gives me a pretty good understanding of whether or not I'd want this to move forward or not. And most of the time, in the first two questions of knowing anybody, right? In the first two questions I ask of knowing anybody, what's your purpose in life? Like, what are you doing? What are you hoping to achieve? And you know, like I just basically ask them personal questions about like, oh, are they enjoying what they're doing, all of that stuff. And I ask it in a way, I'm not like, what's your purpose in life? You see what I mean? Like I'm like, oh, like you're in university. What's the hope? Like, what do you want to get out of university? You're enjoying university. You see what I mean? Like you follow up with questions, etc., etc. Point is, I build pain. By building pain, people respect you more than if you don't build pain in the first place. But anyways, I won't go off on that tangent. Um, I almost got fired from a place I used to work at because I made three of my co-workers cry. I'm asking them questions like this. And they thought I was like bullying them or something like that. Anyway, does everybody get what I'm trying to say, though? In the first 5 minutes, you're supposed to build as much pain as possible. And you can only build that pain by emphasizing why they're on the call. If you don't emphasize when they're on the call, they're not going to have that frame in their mind the rest of the call. They say, I'm just interested in what you see. They command the entire call. They can go, right, well, I just want to know your price now. Right, well, I just want to see what you do here. Right, well, how do you do this? What, do you see what I mean? Like it doesn't become your call anymore, it becomes their call. Because they set that. Technically, they set the agenda by telling you why they're here. Sure thing, Adam Habibi. I don't think he'll let you watch it properly though. It's still private. Inshallah, he'll be uploaded soon. I think I'll put it in the chat anyway though. Anything for you, Habibi Adam. Anything for you. All right. Other quick funny story. Yeah, I thought so, Habibi. Like I said, you're just gonna have to wait until it gets uploaded, which is gonna be November the 9th. So in 3 days. That's what, like Sunday? I think so. Another quick story, Juan. I got sent flipping clothes. So an air purifier, right? Because I live right by the road. If you can see behind me, I live by the road, a main road. My bogies are black. Just telling you, I know my gross you out, but my bogies are flipping black almost every day. So I was like, I need to get an air purifier. I'm also going to contact my landlord because I'm like, I don't want to get lung poisoning or some random stuff. Anyways, I ordered the air purifier. Guess what comes in? A bunch of what's it called? Bean clothes. Like a bunch of clothes. I was like, I'm being flipping trolled here. So I've messaged the guy. He was like, send me a photo. So I'll send him later. But I just got the email now and it came up as a notification. It's flipping ridiculous. Can you imagine? I order an air purifier and I get flipping Sheen clothes. Plastic crap. Anyway. All right, Juan, let's jump into questions.
Oh,
Let's
Fedi.
jump into questions. What's up, Adam Habibi?
So in the sales call today, probably because I didn't make so much pain, when we went to the objection handling, I was showing him the price. He just kept saying, I don't make decisions on the call." So then I tried to walk him through it. So I'm saying, "You're putting 3,000 up front, right?" He's like, "Yes." And if you just close 3 clients, for him that's 150,000, right?
Yeah,
He's like, "Yes."
it's not a logical reason, Adam. You did this on the last call as well. You're not supposed to tackle these things with logic. They don't say I don't want to make the decision on the call because there's a logical reason to do that. You know what I ended up discovering? I'm very blessed to have discovered this, alhamdulillah. When people with us say, I don't want to make a decision on the call to Muhammad, they go, I want to pray Salat Istikhara. Obviously, we can't go, no, don't pray Salat Istikhara, right? But we also understand that this is an emotional response. Salat Istikhara, for most people, they do it wrong. When I say they do it wrong, is in they go in with the wrong intentions. They go in backing up what they already think and what they already feel. They don't go in open to Allah guiding them in any capacity. So, knowing this, when somebody says, I don't want to make the decision, I want to pray, the way Muhammad has to then frame their decision, and I've done this with people, is asking them, right, how does waiting a week make the decision? Sorry, how does waiting a week help you make a better decision? That's one
I
of the first
tried
questions
that.
I asked.
I tried that
What do
with
you mean you
him.
tried that? Did you say exactly what I said there?
Yes. I said, "Okay, 1 week goes by. How does that help you in your decision now?"
Awesome. And what did he say?
He's like, "I want to go talk to my board or God knows who, and I don't want to make a decision just like that. I'm not going to make a decision based on a 15-minute pitch."
Okay, cool. Well, first of all, you should realize one of the main issues. The pitch was 15 minutes. The call you said was 20 minutes. So, like, there's no pain being built at all. The second question, what did you ask after that?
Once he said that, he kept asking me to send him stuff, so I just said, "Okay, here's our standard contract." And I didn't really know where to go else from. I kept trying with him, but he just kept saying he's upset that I tried to teach him numbers or something like that.
Yeah, of course. Think about it. You don't just like the person has thought about it logically. There's just no reason for them to move forward on that day. No reason. Even if you go, oh, but I decreased it by £2,000, whatever it would be, there's no actual reason. The question you would have asked is, oh, cool. When I jumped on the call with you, let's say John, as usual. When I jumped on the call with you, John, I assumed you'd be making a decision, not necessarily the board. What do you usually go to the board of directors for? Do you go to them for decisions like this? And then he'll tell you, right? Then whatever he says next, you're going to end up looping it back with a how and a what question. And remember, how and what questions aren't supposed to be traps. They're supposed to help you understand. So you have to generally try and go at it from, well, this doesn't make sense to me. Let me ask him a question. How does this help you? What does this actually do? Do you see what I mean? Like you're supposed to try and understand them. I'll give you another example.
Uh,
When somebody said, I don't make a decision on the call, I was like, how is waiting a day? 'Cause he said he wants to make a decision in the morning. Like, how does waiting a day make the decision better? He was like, I don't want to do anything when I'm under pressure. I was like, do you feel like I'm putting you under pressure? He was like, no, 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 you're not putting me under pressure. And I was like, how long are you willing to wait to start taking yourself seriously or to start pursuing your goals? He's like, I don't know. Like, I just want to wait a day. So he went back to that. Do you see? Like, I didn't get any new information. He just went back. I just want to wait a day. Like, awesome. What about waiting a day makes you feel comfortable? Do you feel like you get to avoid this decision? He's like, it's not that I'm trying to avoid. It's just, I'm just uncertain that it's going to work. And I was like, bam, let's go. We got the actual objection. And then I handle that separately, right? Like, that's just a completely different objection to handle. And again, I didn't go logically being like, well, actually, we have this guarantee, and actually, we do this, and actually, we do this. I just went, cool. Well, what about this makes you feel uncertain? Oh, it's just like, I don't have time at the moment, blah, 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 blah. So how does the lack of time stop you from achieving your goal? Do you feel like you just can't put an hour or two a day? No, I can put an hour or two a day. Okay, cool. So if you were able to put an hour or two a day and you started today as soon as possible, surely you'd win back your time that you would have to wait for, right? Yeah, yeah, that actually makes sense. And then by themselves, it was just like, all right, let's just move forward.
Yeah, okay. I have to. I don't know if it's natural for you. For me, it's difficult to think on the
No,
spot
you
and go
just
for
don't
how
care
and
about your
what.
clients. You guys just don't care about the people you're on a sales call with. That's the issue. When you're talking to the person, plus you guys have your cameras off, which just saying in the future, I don't want anyone to have their cameras off. Regardless of what Muhammad says, Muhammad's a killer salesperson, and he can afford having his camera off for the most case. My point is that like you guys sit across the screen from somebody, you don't even see their face, even if they have their face on the thing. You don't care about them, you don't care about who they are. You just want the money at the end of the call. So obviously you're gonna just follow the script because you're you're not allowing yourself to think about the person, what they're feeling, and what they're going through. You don't care to ask a what and how question.
So what's the solution? Open the camera.
Edom, it's not a tactic. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you, care about the people you talk to. The money will come to you guys regardless. Stop focusing on the money. The money will come regardless. Money is a byproduct of value. Value is a byproduct of solving people's problems. Solving people's problems, it was a byproduct of helping them. You help people, you make money. It's that simple. Allah will take care of the money. Like, Allah will take care of the money for you. I don't think you guys understand. It doesn't matter what you say on the sales call. If Allah has ordained you to make £3,000 on that day or $3,000 on that day, you will make it. Of course, we need sabab. Of course, we need asbab, right? We need reasons for something to happen. Okay. What I'm trying to remind you is that you go in with the energy of, I want this guy's money. I want to make money. I want to close. Oh, if I don't close, I'm a failure. That's the energy you guys go in with. You go in with wanting something. You know, wanting is the lowest level. Wanting is the lowest level of anything. Doing is a level higher than that. Being is a level even higher. So it's not about wanting to help somebody. It's not about doing the help. It's about being the person who helps others. And so if you can go into the sales call with a frame, with this in your heart, in your mind, going, I'm here to help this person. I'm here to understand this person as deeply as possible. You'll instantly and automatically want to ask what and how questions. You'll want to. If I don't care about somebody, I don't ask them the first two questions that I ask everybody. What is your goal in life? You know, what is your purpose? And then follow up with that. I don't ask those because I don't care about them. I'm not going to pretend that I do. But when I look at somebody, I go, this is a human being. They have a story and I want to hear it. The way I ask the questions, the follow up questions that come to my mind are completely different. When you give qima, so qima is like the worth. When you give qimat, the call itself, more than what it actually is, you look at the call as a way to make money, when in reality, the call is a way to have a conversation with somebody and understand them. People buy from people who understand them. So again, I'm trying to tell you this because it's not a tactic. You guys know what you need to do. You guys generally know what you need to do. The reason you're not doing it, or the reason you're not doing it to a higher level, is because of the energy that you go into these calls with, the emotions that you go into these calls with. You know how many people I get frustrated by? And I don't get frustrated for a very long time because I try not a beneficial emotion to have. I'll say this very quickly, Adam, because I know you got something on the tip of your tongue. I'll check the chat in a second as well. What annoys me about people who cancel or who let go of, for example, Pillars of the Ummah and other programs that I went through and stuff like that, is when I message somebody, I'm not going to talk about Pillars of the Ummah for a second. Just when I message somebody, it's like, oh yeah, I left this program. And I ask them why. Like, I just felt a lot of pressure. It just didn't feel right. They describe feelings. And the issue is that they saw them having to pay for something, pressure, rather than a gift. They attached a value to them having a lot of money in their bank account rather than using that money. You see, I have a challenge for myself, by the way, Juan. My bank account should have less than £1,000 in it at the end of the day. It should either be in my investment portfolios, or it should either be going back into the business, or it should be going towards sadaqah. Those three things. I should not just have money lying around doing nothing. Like, what's the point in having a big number in my bank account? Does it make me feel good? Like, money is supposed to be used for something. By itself, just being a number, just being something you have in your mind, is flipping useless. And so these people are attached to their wealth rather than attached to what their wealth can bring them. freedom, the growth, the possibilities, the possibility to give more sadaqah. And so everyone who cancels, not everybody, because some people have a good reason to cancel, because obviously Pillar is not perfect, and same with other programs in general. But every time somebody cancels and they tell me, I feel X or I feel like Y, I'm like, that's, you have to understand, whatever you do next, you're going to have the same thing holding you back. Because you're not fixing these emotional bottlenecks. You're not fixing these energy leaks, right? You're leaking out energy. You're leaking out potential because you're just doing nonsense. You keep blaming nonsense. You keep blaming tactics when in reality, the tactics aren't what moves the needle forward. What moves the needle forward is you, the person who is, right? So, yes, perfect, Olga akhi. Jazakallah khair. For the video, Adam, you don't want to wait until the 9th. Go into Tolga's post, and then inshallah, I replied with the video there as well that you can watch, inshallah. Anything you want to say, Adam, before I look in the chat?
I can't really say anything. You said everything. It's facts. I have to just change my mentality. I guess you have a point. I've been just focusing on getting the 3,000 and not actually helping them out.
Exactly.
I need to
The
focus
most toxic thing I
on our
had, the
questions.
most. If you have any others, by the way, let me know in a second. I'll check the chat. But the most toxic thing I had, the most toxic relationship I had with people was looking at them as either avenues for money or avenues for growth. So what I ended up doing was that every time I spend time with my mother, my own mother, I'd be like, this is a waste of an hour. I could have made money in this hour. You know how depressing it is to look at like things that way. Not just depressing, like it's just, it doesn't benefit you in any way, right? It just doesn't benefit you in any single way. Syed Habibi, just to answer your question directly, sometimes if you were to just apply the frame that I told you of wanting to help somebody, your brain will open up to these ideas. Now, you might ask yourself, and it's a good question, why do I know what to do afterwards and not during the sales call? Why is that? Why do I seem to be a sales flipping genius outside the sales call, but in the sales call, I'm like a retarded toad, right? Say that because there's a funny photo of, I think it's a Down syndrome frog. Nothing's funny about Down syndrome. The frog looks very cute. Here it is. I don't think it actually has Down syndrome, by the way. I do apologize. I'm not trying to be offensive or make fun of the creation of Allah. I just want to show you like how cute this frog looks. Look at him. So that's you on the sales call. There, you're just like that. Oh, I look a bit like a frog there. Anyways, shouldn't compare ourselves to animals. Astaghfirullah al-Azim. My point is, yeah, akhi, when you go into the call, you feel pressure. Whereas outside of the call, you feel no pressure. So what you'll end up realizing is that as humans, as human beings, pressure or having a high level of adrenaline doesn't make us creative. In fact, it makes us tunnel visioned. It makes us see just one avenue and one thing. And so oftentimes when you go into the call and you've attached yourself to making money, you've attached yourself to the outcome of closing them potentially, when you've done that, you've put pressure on yourself and therefore you do not have the creativity to figure out what to say, how to say it, and what question to ask as a follow-up. So notice how outside of the sales call, you can ask pretty good questions. You know what to say. Like in the sales call, you don't. What's the difference? Like, did you suddenly get like 10 times smarter outside the sales call? No. Your feelings were different. You were feeling different. You felt pressure during the sales call. But you didn't outside the sales call. Obviously, you didn't outside the sales call because you're not in a sales call. And so when you go into the sales call, this is why I tell everybody you need to take 5 minutes for the sales call. I think I said this to you, and I don't know if I said it to everybody. Take 5 minutes before the sales call. Deep breathly, breathe deeply, and just visualize you killing the sales call. I'm not like, again, you're trying to visualize a feeling, not an image. So what I'm trying to tell you is like, visualize yourself feeling confident and feeling certain, right? And just feel confident, feel certain. And then open your eyes, join the call, get started, right? And when you do that enough times, Siyad Akhi, what you'll find is that your brain starts opening up to these ideas of asking follow-up questions a certain way. For example, when I worked with Leader, an agency I built out sales systems for, something I had was zero pressure on the sales calls. I was making money another way. Didn't care if I closed them or didn't close them. And I asked amazing questions, amazing flipping questions. And I was able to realize that those calls, and they were 12,000 pound deals, by the way. They weren't like nothing. Like, it was 12,000 pound deals at the end of them. Those calls where I was able to just focus on asking the questions and understanding the person, they had a more likelihood of success. There was a certain week where I was attached to the outcome. I fumbled those sales calls. In fact, one of them, I remember specifically, this woman was walking her dog. And usually I'd go, all right, cool, let's reschedule. She was like, no, 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 this works for me. And usually I'd say, well, it doesn't work for me. I don't feel like there's mutual respect. If you're unwilling to reschedule the call, I completely understand. This might not be the right time for you, might not be a priority for you. We don't work with people who are like half in, half out. And that's it. I'll just basically sit back and then they'll give me the response. In this case, I didn't say that. I was like, okay. And then we just continued the call. Call cut out 3 times, by the way. She lost like signal. She lost 4G because she was on her phone. She was walking her dog. Her dog pooped once and she had to pick up the poop. Like, just see what I mean? Like, if you only put pressure on yourself, if you just want the money, you're willing to like deal with this crap. But if you look at it from a perspective, I just want to understand the person, I want to ask the right questions. I'm here because I'm confident, I have self-respect, I'm worthy. You won't allow that stuff. Exactly. You're willing to be devalued. Why I say devalued is unvalued. I don't know why you put a question mark there, Adam. Exactly, Yunus Akhi. Exactly. Like, when they leave the call, like, I saw a guy tweaking out. I understand me, by the way. He just got hung up on when he pitched the price. He was tweaking out because he was in a sales call, and the guy just left halfway through the call when he was saying the price. And he got really angry. He's like, no, that's my 5K. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, what I would be annoyed about was that somebody was willing to leave the best version of themselves on the table. And like, the issue is, and this is a belief I used to have, the issue was is like, I used to think selling was not a good thing necessarily because I was sold to on some things that weren't very good because I knew people who got scammed. Because, like, for me, sales wasn't always a positive thing. I didn't attribute positivity to sales. I didn't attribute like helping people to sales. I attributed making money. And so what happened was that sometimes I felt like I was lying to myself by saying I'm here to help this person. I was like, well, yeah, but I get something at the end of it. I get their money. What I ended up doing was looking at the sales call itself as a way to understand. This is why I keep repeating it. 'Cause you don't need to learn something new. You often need to be reminded by it, right? Eunice loves saying that. Um, but you have to remind yourself, right? I'm here. I'm here to understand this person. I'm here to see how I can help them. And if I can't help them, I don't care about their money. If I can help them, the way for me to help them is for them to be committed to me by giving me money. And so money becomes the exchange of value to help somebody, not the exchange of value to just take it, right? So that was a big one for me. Another final thing, actually, in regard to sales psychology for myself, now that I reflect on it, I used to think that when I made money, somebody else lost money. So like, plus 3,000 for Fedi, minus 3,000 for this guy. And I felt like I was just taking. I wasn't giving anything, no matter what my service was. Now, a lot of people don't have this, which is really, really good. But for some reason, I just had it as a belief. And I remember sitting down one day and I thought to myself, I feel horrible because I feel like I'm taking money away from people. What I ended up doing was not just reframing the act of selling. What I ended up realizing, alhamdulillah, I realized this sooner rather than later, was that these people will always have access to money. Same way I will always have access to money. All of us have this huge pie that is infinite. An infinite pie, it never shrinks, it always grows, right? It doesn't grow, it doesn't shrink, it's infinite. And so they can reach into that pie and take however much they want. I can reach into that pie and take however much I want. Money comes to those who demand it, not those who deserve it. So this guy can demand 3,000 in the next hour. He can demand it in the next year. He can demand it in the next day. It doesn't matter. My point is, I've demanded 3,000 out of this infinite pie, and therefore I will take and deserve 3,000. So when you look at money as an infinite thing, which it basically is, by the way, when you look at money as an infinite thing, you don't feel like you're taking from anybody. Everybody has access to the same pie. Everybody has access to the same amount of money. Now, are people able to get the same amount of money? That's a different question. I believe they can. I believe it's not necessarily easy for depending on where you're from, but I believe people can. So let me make sure I didn't have any other notes. No. Right. Any questions, Akhwan, on that or just on anything else?
What's the best way to be able to think quickly on your feet? Because for me, if I get shut down, my brain just freezes most of the time in sales calls and in, I guess, general arguments.
Well, it goes back down to pressure and being emotional. In The Chimp Paradox, very, very good book, by the way. In The Chimp Paradox, he talks about how when our ego gets attacked, we basically react emotionally. And so oftentimes it's the perception of an attack that makes us react that way. So he said, if you feel like everything's an attack against you, you'll never react the best way possible. You always react to protect your ego. But if you always see something as an opportunity to understand somebody deeper, to understand yourself deeper, if you just see hard conversations, for example, arguments, challenges, whatever it would be, as an opportunity for growth or an opportunity for understanding, then you don't feel pressure anymore because the ego isn't being attacked. And so, to answer your question indirectly, Demechi, but also kind of directly, that you just have to change your mind about what is and what isn't an attack on you. You have to change your mind about like what is somebody when there's somebody's like wishing harm upon you. Maybe that's doing that to protect themselves. Maybe there's no harm being done to you, and maybe the harm that is being done to you is in your control, and therefore you can change that. You can accept it. You can do something about it. Do you see what I mean? So for me, whenever somebody attacks me, like earlier, I had a seminar, politics of globalization. I made a point about how Nigel Farage's government will not change anything. We're not going to have what's it called? I'm not going to get too political. Obviously, we're not going to have what the flipping word deportations. That's it. We're not going to have mass deportations. Why? Because it goes against the ECHR, the European Court of Human Rights. The UK is literally like entangled with the European Court of Human Rights, and to leave the European Court of Human Rights, it's going to take years. And Nigel Farage isn't going to be able to do that anyway. It's going to take him too long. He's probably not going to have the support to do that within his government, and so nothing's going to happen. I basically said nothing will change. Like either way, we're going to have basically Tony Blair as our prime minister in some way. And this guy instantly, like the lecturer, sorry, the seminar tutor, and this other guy instantly attack my point. They go, no, but they could do this, they could do that, they could do this, they could do that. They basically just didn't understand my main point, which is that nothing changes. Now, could I have gotten offended? Could I feel like somebody was making me feel dumb? Absolutely. Did I care? Not really. I was like, oh, okay, maybe they're let me understand what they're trying to say. Maybe they're right in some way. Maybe I misunderstood something. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. Most of it I just saw as like, they probably don't want me to be right, and that's fine, right? Because we want this existential crisis in the UK. So I'm not going to get too political, but I'm just saying we want this crisis in the UK because it defends our identity. And then let's say because obviously I'm in university, flipping most liberal institute ever, they want to be fighters for liberty, right? And so they protect their identity by doing that. And so for me, Edemechi, you don't think quickly on your feet as a skill necessarily. The skill behind that is just not feel pressure. How do you not feel pressure? You stop seeing things as attacks on you. Even if they are inherent attacks on you. Even if somebody says, Adam, I hate you. They go, I hate you because of who you are. There's nothing wrong with me. I love myself. I just flipping hate you. Then, all right, cool. Then you might go, all right, Fedi, well, explain this to me then. But other than that, like I wouldn't. I mean, like I wouldn't. I don't take anything as an attack against me. Never. Even if somebody like is trying to attack me, it's just I don't feel that pressure. If that makes sense. And neither should you. Neither should you. That makes sense, Adam?
Yeah.
Um, Sieta, I asked them how come they want that and then address these points because that's usually the main issue. Equality, or they don't know if they can close. But after I address, they're still like, nah. Okay, well, what do you think it is, Sieta? I think it's very clear that you haven't really addressed the root issue. It's like me chucking nunchucks at you. Me chucking nunchucks, me chucking like ninja stars at you. You dodge one ninja star. You dodge the other ninja star. You dodge the other ninja star. You're like, do you have any more ninja stars? Are you going to stop hitting me? And they're like, yeah, I'll stop now. But then they just walk away and you're like, I didn't get to do anything there. So what do you think it is, Habibi? I saw you unmute yourself. What do you think it is?
Like I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know because in my head, the main two reasons people would want commission based is because they think the leads are going to be poor quality, and then I try to address that. Or they think even if the leads are high quality, because they're colder leads compared to let's say referrals, they're scared they can't close, and then that leads to like, can they make their money back? So like they're unsure if the investment makes sense on the basis will they get the money back if they close or not.
Well, bottom line, they just don't believe it'll work for them. That's like bottom line. At the end of the day, that's it. That's what they're thinking at the moment. This isn't going to work for me. they'll give you all these reasons, but what they're thinking emotionally is this isn't going to work for me. So let's say you've handled the leadership quality and you tell them, actually, that's a very good point that you make. Um, you know, the quality of the leads is going to be like this, it's going to be like that, right? You basically tell them it's going to be okay. And you ask them, like, does that make sense? Do you see how the lead quality is actually going to be good? You want them to affirm, by the way. You need them to say yes, right? Yes, I can see how the lead quality is going to be better, but I still don't know if I can close them. Because like these guys are going to be colder. They might not trust me. They might not like, know that they need this. But okay, well, what makes a sales call easy for you? Oh, like they know me. They know what I'm selling. Blah 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 blah. Okay, cool. Well, in our process, they'll know what you're selling. Is there anything else? Yeah, they need to know me. Good point. In the process as well, they're going to get to know you a little bit better. They would have seen your face. You're familiar to them. You're not a complete stranger. Yeah, blah 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 blah. Good point as well. In our process, what usually would be a cold lead, we actually warm up. So when they jump on the sales call, they'll have a problem, they'll want to talk to you, and they know that you can solve that problem. So do you feel like you'd be able to close if somebody knew who you were, trusted you slightly, and was coming in the call for the solution? Yes, I feel like I could. Okay, cool. And just as a little bonus, by the way, we actually do give you sales scripts, we help you with the process, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. That makes sense. So now that I've said these things, how would so you wouldn't necessarily go back to the commission basis thing. Yeah, so now that I've told you these things, how would you want me to do a commission basis? How do you expect me to do that necessarily? And they'll give you the reason. They'll tell you, oh, could you do this? Could you do this? Could you do that? Another way to handle it directly, by the way, Siad akhi, is just to say, well, how do you expect me to do that? How do you expect me to not get paid and do all the work for you? You can joke about it necessarily. You don't have to say it as like seriously as I said. But you can also ask it the other way. What about having it as commission basis would make you feel like you're making a better decision? Basically, you're asking what and how questions again and again and again.
Okay, makes sense. And just to follow up for that, so yesterday I had a sales call with someone, and I should have took the deposit, and they were willing to give a deposit, but I didn't do it because I didn't have conviction I could help them to the extent they expected, because they said that they believe the close rate would be around about 70%, and I just don't think that's possible in this like industry of accounting and stuff like that. So then I thought that if I, let's say, do end up working with them and the close rate's probably going to be more around about 30%, even if I had them like the best accountancy like closers, probably 50%, 70% is way too high. So then I'm thinking in my head that like I'm lying to them or conning them because I'm not clarifying that your close rate's probably going to be like 30, 40%, not 70.
And just tell them that. Why are you afraid to tell them that their close rate is going to be less than what they think it is?
Uh, Muhammad told me like before that like we should just let them run with it. I can't lie.
If you want to let them run with it, let them run with it. Some guy told me before he wanted to join Fedi Ummah, he wanted to make like 20K a month in 6 months. I was like, are you starting from zero? And he was like, yeah. I was like, you're probably not going to do that then. So I'd let you know, like, not a very realistic expectation. What do you think is going to happen, Sia? Do you think the guy's going to go, oh, piss off, you're rude? Like, what do you think is going to happen? Like, just going to go, oh, what makes you say that? Like, well, you're used to closing for referrals. I can tell you now, these guys aren't referrals. Be like, well, by the way, how many calls have you taken? Oh, I've taken 50. Like, Tolga, you had this on your sales call as well, akhi. She gave you a ridiculous amount that she could close. She said like, what, like 60? No, she said like 90% or something ridiculous like that. But, well, how many sales calls have you taken, by the way, John? Oh, I've taken 20. And you had a 60% close on 20 of those calls? Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. What was the context of the calls, by the way? Were these guys like friends, referrals? They were all referrals. Okay, cool. Well done, man. That's really, really cool, actually. I'll just tell you now, by the way, we're going to bring in you way more than 20 calls, but you can expect the closing rate to halve. Probably going to be closer to 30% than it will be 60%. Just like, if you want to say that, just say that. You see what I mean? Like, there's no issue with saying that. It's not going to, like, either way, the conversation you need to have about their closing rate. Because if they assume they're going to get like 60% closes and then they have, let's say they have 10 sales calls and then you close 3 people, like, oh, the leads you brought me are crap. Oh, I want to cancel. Like, if they're one of those people, they're one of those people. You see what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's best to just say it. Say it as it is.
It makes sense. Exactly. Yeah.
Where you can. I don't know why some people are so afraid to say it how it is. You're not gonna get hurt, by the way. Nobody's gonna hit you for saying it how it is. Be honest, Habib, what's your weird question? Oh.
Assalamu alaikum, akhi.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
The weird question is, I'll give you context before I ask it. I had a call
Sure.
yesterday, hour and 20 minutes of just yap with these two.
Right.
It was the client I turned down. So the business consists of three owners. So the one I didn't like wasn't on the call. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. It was just two of the other guys. No, it was just we were just talking. They're a referral anyway, so they do trust me still. But they wanted to change their offer, etc., which is good. But they were talking for a very long time about how many other vendors they used, talking about how there's no one in the industry that actually provides good leads. And when I say good lead, I mean like leads that actually are worth a good amount to the business. So at least they're looking for at least £500 a month in retainers. And so obviously they also did say to me, okay, we can't guarantee that. So we know you can't guarantee that. It's impossible to gauge how much we'll be able to charge them before you book a call. But if you can just bring us businesses of this capacity, this size, etc., then we'll be happy. And so it was a really good chat, alhamdulillah, and we're signing the contract, inshallah, this week, and getting started with them next week. And they're really, really happy with everything. But the question I had was, what do you think of your competitors? Because from what I can see in the industry that I'm in, my competitors are very incompetent. But the thing is, though, if I think of that, I feel as though I'm going to become complacent. So how do you view your competitors, Akhi? Like, how do you view them?
I think, to be honest with you, there's not going to be that much like connection between how I view my competitors and how you'd view yours.
Mhm.
If my competitors are direct competitors, meaning they sell to the same audience, they sell basically the same thing. See if I can find a note I made on this as well. I used to get very, very like angry because I feel like, oh, they're taking something away from you, blah, 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 blah. Not anymore. We've all like, I believe every single person in the Ummah to have at least the capacity or the knowledge to become financially independent. And if that's God's will, then I don't have to be the vehicle for that. Meaning, I don't see myself as being the important figure to make this happen. And so for me, it's more so of a fact of like, I get happy when I have competitors because they're going to help more people. And if they're crap, then it gives me the opportunity to help those people and like fix their wounds or fix their doubt or fix their issues, basically. So for me, I don't really measure competition anyway. I just don't measure it. I don't care what people have gone through in the past in terms of like my competitors, and I don't care what my competitors currently do. If they're doing something better than me, then cool. If they're not, they're not. What I used to have, I used to get the objection a lot when I worked with dentists. Not necessarily objection, but like the notes like, oh, nobody understands the dental industry, blah, 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 blah. What I ended up taking note of or making note of mentally in my mind about my competitors is that to beat the average, I'm just going to have to be better than average. And the average is pretty crap. But for me to dominate the market, it's going to take a lot of effort regardless. So that goes the same for everybody here. If you want to make 10 grand a month, 20 grand, 30 grand a month, you don't have to be that above average. You really don't. But if you want to be making 100K, 200K, 500K per month, then you need to basically start learning how to dominate the market and carve your interests within the market. And how do you carve your interests in the market? You carve your interests, like literally imagine like you're carving something into the wall by making yourself better than everybody else, by providing more value than everybody else, by being more helpful than everybody else. And so you're not supposed to measure yourself by your competitors. You're supposed to measure yourself by you, right? You're supposed to measure yourself by what your clients' expectations of you are. Or, as I mentioned before, I don't know if I have it somewhere, by the truth. Yeah, I think I have it somewhere in this presentation. You're supposed to measure your success for your clients. Flipping heck, this is just the image. By the truth. Close that. Open it again. Let's see if I can find it. No. Why do half my stuff not flipping save? Oh no, actually I do know where it is. My bad. Wait, okay. All right. Let me show you, Habibi Yunus, what I mean. When you, let me put this image instead, actually. When you learn that there are two extremes in your niche, right? I'm going to go with our niche very quickly, just in business in general. You've got the extreme of Alex Hormozy. You work 12-hour days. Your life is your business. You've got the other extreme, which is don't work a single hour and instead just manifest what the heck you want. Closer to the truth, but still in this side, is Russell Brunson. He believes you should work, but he believes you should love the business, you should love who you serve, and you should love what you do. Heart to heart, just do what you genuinely love. You got John Gabb, who's one of my mentors, right? He believes it's less about the logic, it's less about the tactics, it's less about the work, and more so about like having the right energy, basically. So he's closer to here, but he still does a little bit of work. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Like the actual truth, the actual best way to run a business for most people is probably somewhere in the middle. You see, most people think Alex Hormozy is too extreme, rightfully so. They don't want to work 12-hour days. They don't want to make business their life. This guy is also on the other end of the extreme. Like some people just know this isn't going to work. What you have is a bunch of people who meditate for 10 hours, but then achieve nothing in their life. Like they feel good, cool, but they don't achieve anything in their life. On this end, you have people who are like overworking, not close to Allah. They basically worship their business. And then you've got people who follow Russell Brunson, let's say people who follow John Gabb, and what they have is closer to what they really want. And so what I'm trying to tell you here, Yunus Akhi, is for you to make a ridiculous amount of money, for you to dominate your market, learn how to get close to the truth. See what people genuinely want from you. See what people genuinely want in general in your niche, and help them get closer to that. And when you do that, you don't have a competition. You've carved out your own place in the marketplace by bringing yourself close to the truth. So now Russell Brunson doesn't compete with Hormozy whatsoever. Not because this guy sells funnels and this guy sells business advice or like private equity or whatever, but because of how close they are to the truth. John Gabb does not compete with a bunch of other mindset coaches, for example, because a lot of the other mindset coaches just focus on this, or they focus like up here, do work, do work, do work, do work. Whereas John, where he focuses on in regard to the truth, is different. So hopefully that makes sense, Akhi. It's a bit of a long-winded answer, but I'm quite happy giving you those answers in general, Yunus, because you're quite smart. So just understand that the closer you get your client to the truth, the better. There isn't a competition. It's just people who are closer to the truth and people who are further away from the truth. Those who are farther away might make more money than those who are closer for a time being, but in the long run, the person who gets closer to the truth will always dominate his market. Always.
Makes sense. So aside from obviously the value aspect, it's more so you don't even care about the rest. Like you don't care about your competitors. Not care, but like you don't even think of them. Like you're just so streamlined on your own mission that the rest is just noise.
No, exactly. Nobody really exists for me, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like, it's not that they don't matter in their own respect. They just don't matter to me. My success has nothing to do with them. My failure has nothing to do with them. It all has something to do with me. And if I'm incapable, then that's my responsibility, not theirs in any way.
Uh-huh. Makes sense. Another reason I ask as well is because I came across like an ad the other day of somebody in my niche, and from a marketing aspect, in terms of helping my clients get clients, I'm very confident in my ability to do that. The other bit that I'm not confident, but like don't have as much experience as my competitors, is the actual accounting aspect, like the actual accounting business, like how to like not serve clients, but like um, tricks to like charge higher if you add this to the service and add this and this. I can probably learn that as I go along the way, but that's just something I was thinking of. Like they've actually owned an accounting practice before, or sorry, accounting firm before, so maybe they have more of trust to my prospects than I do because I've never actually owned a firm, etc.
Well, I wasn't a dentist. I wasn't a dental student either. Most of my competitors were dentists or ex-dentists. I ended up realizing I could probably just learn half the stuff by reading dental magazines, and I did. It matters way less than you think.
Okay,
Way less than you
true.
think. You have to remember, Yunus Akhi, like the market rewards on value. It doesn't reward on like
Knowledge.
being an accountant or not being an accountant. Do you know what I mean? Like it rewards based on how much value you can provide. Like for
Mhm.
example, Dan Kennedy, right? Well, one of the biggest marketers in the entire world, right? or at least he was. Do you really think the industries he worked in, he was like, and for example, he worked with dentists. The guy's never, he barely goes to the dentist himself. He understands business fundamentals. And when he asks the dentist a question such as, what could you sell that makes you more money, right, but costs you less to do? And they would tell him, Invisalign, for example. And you go, cool, we're going to sell more of Invisalign. He doesn't understand how Invisalign works. He doesn't have to. Because if you have business fundamentals, if you have an understanding of those, then you can apply them to any industry in any context. So,
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
you can just ask a question like, what service could you charge $2,000 for? What service could you charge $5,000 for? If they go, I don't know, like, right, cool, well, figure it out then. Let's figure it out together.
Mhm. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, akhi. Jazakallah khair.
Habibi. What's the question, Adam Habibi, about the client VSL?
So my client Phil Bull, as we agreed that we'll do a new contract. Before it was commission basis, which I'm never doing ever again. Now it's every appointment is worth £50, whether he closes or doesn't close. I'm trying to get him to make a new VSL. This guy, no matter what I do, cannot smile. I'm trying to tell him smile in the video. He just does not want to smile. And I saw you were talking about software before that if they're looking at the script, you can fix that. Is that something we can use? What do we have in terms of
Yeah,
VSL?
can do. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the script is called, Descript. Let me send you the link if you want to do it. By the way, I want to ask a question for everybody really quickly. How many of you don't want to hire setters?
I want to.
How many of you just don't really want to hire? Like, if you had a different way of scaling without hiring setters, how many of you guys would go for it?
Oh, I would. Setters
Yeah,
are so
Adam
painful.
would. Yeah,
I know where
Yunus
this is
would.
going.
Maham would. Amazing. Okay. Well, in that case, inshallah, what I plan on doing is walking you guys through lag growth machine, LGM, and then walking you through Lockman as well, walking you through how you can potentially basically just rent LinkedIn accounts or buy LinkedIn accounts outright and then just pay for the software for $200 a month. And that's it. Like, you just pay $200 a month and then you have your own SDR basically. And then you can have a VA handle the replies and whatever because you can handle it from the software itself. And so that would cost you a lot less in the long run. And you can basically just have the system be used by yourself. Like, you can have your own voice, or you can just tell the person, look, just send me like a 20-second recording. Here's a script, and then bam. Yeah, don't worry. It's very, very like secure. And so it would mean that you guys can have everything centralized. You can have everything streamlined, and you're actually using stuff with AI. I know some of you guys want just to have things a bit more automated and stuff. But yeah, inshallah, inshallah khair. I'll try and do that basically.
Is this when you say voice, we don't have to send voice notes, it does it for us.
Yeah, it sends the voice notes for you. Like, it's automated.
What?
So it sends out connection requests. Automatically. Right? It's basically, it replaces Ulink in that regard because it maxes out how many connection requests you can send. You'll have Sales Navigator as well with it. Then you have, it sends out the voice messages automatically. And if they don't reply, it does the follow-ups automatically as well.
That's very overpowered.
Quite good, I know. I'll make the training for it. I've been, let's say, procrastinating. I haven't felt like it's a priority. That's other things, but I'll add it to the list, seeing as you guys do want it. I will make it happen, inshallah.
Fedi, please make it on the top of the priority list. I need that. I'm struggling with setters, man. I just have one.
I feel that's a common occurrence with people. Finding the right setters. Yeah. People in the game setters.
So
No, they are personalized, Olga. They are personalized. It uses AI to just duplicate your voice. And so I'll give you an example. You might create the script going, hey, John, wanted to reach out to you because of blah, 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 blah. Now, you'll record the part that goes, I wanted to reach out to you because I was curious if you're open to learning how you can sign more clients in the next 90 days, blah, 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 blah. Alhamdulillah. However, what the AI will do was it'll add the hey, John at the start based on your voice. So it'll go, hey, John, I wanted to reach out to you, and then it'll continue talking, right? So the I wanted to reach out to you will always be the same. And then the first part, which will be hey, and then their name, will be different each time, obviously, because it's personalized. So the AI handles that, basically, is what I'm saying.
That's very good. Just a quick
Yeah.
question, Fedi. With
What's
the
up?
Descript, I'm not really sure how to use it. I just do edit video and it will do it.
So on Descript, what's the screen that you see?
I'll
You
just
see this
share. Yeah.
new project, video project. Upload the file.
Can I
Let's
make
see.
Phil
There's
smile
Yunus
more
there.
with this as well, or no?
I don't know. You can probably ask. Eye contact is there. And then, so you can fix the eye contact thing. And then you can probably use the AI guy, Underlord, and just tell him, can you make the person smile? That's it.
Okay. It says I'm on
You
the
would just
free
do that.
program, so if it doesn't let me do that, can I just send it to you?
No, because I don't have the AI credits for it. I've used all of them.
Oh, okay. Yunus
If it's
looks funny.
if I were you, I would just start sending the messages. I wouldn't let it stop you. Go away, Yunus. You can't sue me. I'm joking. You can. Yeah. So inshallah, like basically what I was going to say is that just start sending out Phil's VSL now. Let's say you book a meeting with him. Just pay for 1 month of Descript or something like that. Fix the VSL and start sending it again. You know what I mean? Like, it'll just be a one-time thing, basically.
Okay. Gotcha. That's almost smart.
All right. Awesome. Yunus, Habibi, let's see. And then I'm going to get my milk ready. I'm still listening, by the way. Don't worry. I'm just going to get my milk ready to break my fast.
Are you fasting as well?
It's regarding the cold call I hired, akhi. I think I asked you about it yesterday as well, whether I should keep him or not. Obviously, I think you told me to keep him because he is doing the dials, and today he did do the dials again. Yesterday we had like, can you hear?
Yeah, we can hear you.
That is, oh,
I can
Fedi
hear you.
hear?
I can hear you. Don't worry.
Okay. Yesterday we did like an hour long like coaching session. I went through literally every issue he had. One of the main issues he's had was for some reason when I dial, I get like a 30, 40, 30, 40% pickup rate, which is amazing.
Mhm.
When he dials for some and he's dialing on the same dialer at the same time, he gets like
Same
10%.
number?
Same numbers, bro. Same numbers, everything. He gets like a 5% pickup rate. So I have no idea what's going on in that regard. The other issues I found was he was speaking like really, I don't know how to explain it. It's like a really weak tone, like can I please like that sort of tone. So I was
Right.
training him on that. There was no conviction and confidence in his voice. So I was training him on that. He didn't really practice the script properly. Like he needs to practice the script more and like memorize the script. So when he does objection handle, it just flows off the tongue and it doesn't sound like he's reading off a script. But so that those things can be coachable. I don't mind coaching him on that. And the dials he's doing now as well. The only downside is for some reasons, subhanAllah, he is getting far less pickups than me. But every other variable is the same. Like every other variable is the same.
Well, you said you've noticed something about him, like being weaker-willed, if you will, like with his voice and
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
So I remind you that obviously barakah is something that exists for everybody. Sorry, I spilled a bunch of my milk everywhere because my milk has cream, as you can see. So I need to quickly like. All right, bismillah. Let me quickly get some tissue so I can wipe my desk. What I'm basically trying to say, Yunus akhi, is the intention that he goes into these calls with is an intention that he'll get back out. If he's avoiding them, if he hates them, if he doesn't want to do them, then what's going to happen is that he's going to put that intention out into the world and he's just going to get it back. It doesn't matter if he calls at the same time. It doesn't matter. This is why, by the way, certain people have, let's say, business just be incredibly easy and successful, is because they have barakah. Their intention is to do something good with it, and their intention is to make the most of it. And so, what I would do if I were you is I would coach him once a week. And the primary thing I would coach him on isn't direct tonality. It's like mindset related, basically, slightly. Like tell him, like, how do you feel when you cold call? Are you enjoying this? Like basically, I say this as a general tip. If you guys hire people who genuinely love cold calling, they'll have more success, not just because they love cold calling, not just because they actually love what they do, but primarily for the fact that these guys will have more energy, right? And therefore, every conversation they have is more likely to lead to a meeting being booked. like every dial just has more barakah in it. Like everything is just better with these guys. So if I were you, Yunus Akhi, I'd coach him once a week, like I said, reviewing his calls, asking him, how did you feel when you were making this call? Like, what made you reply this way? Just understand his psychology, basically, understand what he's going through. What I can probably tell is that if he's doing more dials, if he's using the exact same number, if there's nothing that's different other than location he's in, and obviously the NG he's putting in, but let's just go full logic mode here. If he's in the same location as you, is he in the UK?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, no, he's not. He's in Pakistan, but his accent is like very, very Western, like extremely Western. That's why I hired him, and he has good internet as well.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how Go High Level system works. You're using Go High Level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know how Go High Level system works when it recognizes like IP addresses and stuff like that. But it could be because he's calling from Pakistan.
You reckon? But wouldn't that
Could
be the
be.
same
And if
for any
his
other
internet,
country?
if his internet is really good, the issue that I usually have with pickups is that when you say pickups, by the way, is it like people hang up on him, or is it literally people picking up and saying hello?
The latter.
In that case, it could be that sometimes the call isn't even going through properly, which happens very, very often, by the way. If they're calling from like what's it called? Like somewhere that has unstable connection. But if his connection is good, then I wouldn't necessarily think about it. To be honest with you, Akhi, like what's the appointment booking rate looking like?
For me, it's 2.64%. So
And for
let's just say
him?
2%. For him, it's zero. No, sorry, it's 1%. So no, sorry, 0.87. I'll just check now. 0.87. So yeah, nothing.
Then this definitely isn't the bottleneck then.
Mm-hmm.
But 0.87%, I think the main bottleneck will be his tonality.
Does that
I
count
wouldn't even
showed
bother trying to
calls?
solve this problem. Pardon?
Does that count showed calls or just calls booked in general?
Calls booked in general, which like how many dials does he make? How many meetings does he book?
He's made around at least 1,000 dials by now. So not 1,000, sorry, around 600 dials by now, and he's booked one call, but the guy didn't show.
He's done 600 dials and then one call booked.
Mm-hmm. And his pickup rate
Then
is
your issue is in the
11.
pickup rate.
Huh?
Yeah, the issue is in the pickup rate. This guy's just really bad at cold calling.
You reckon? But things I don't mind him being bad at cold calling. I can coach him. It's more so the fact that I don't know. I thought that he wasn't speaking to enough people.
No, well, it's not necessarily that he's not speaking. Basically, you've got yourself a complete cold calling beginner, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then
I mean,
you're
that's
literally
not what
coaching
he
this guy
said.
from zero.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not like, this is the annoying thing I'm trying to tell you guys is that when you hire people, like you're coaching more than you are. Actually, I'll put it this way: you're training. If you have somebody who's a complete cold call beginner who's never cold called in their life, you're gonna have to understand that your training probably isn't what they need, right? As in, like, it is what they need, but it's gonna like require more things. The better the person that you hire is, the less training they need in general for soft skills. Because if somebody who's never done cold calling in their life starts picking up the phone for a business they don't really care about, for money that's like, it might be a decent amount for him, but my point is that, like, it's not a big reason. It's not a big enough reason to cold call. Now that he's seen he can make money online, whatever, he might find something else. My point to you, Yunus Akhi, is that I don't know why you've settled for somebody who is so crap at cold calling.
Mm.
Like, none of you guys seem to want to hire somebody who's decent at something. I don't know if you guys take pity on these people or what it is, but you guys just seem to hire people who are just absolute crap at what they do.
I think for me, and
Just
I'll
hire
be
somebody
totally
who's
honest.
good.
I think for me, and I'll be totally honest, it's because I've already sunk a lot of money into him. I feel like I have to make this work. I have to make this work.
Forget about the money, Akhi. Just forget about the money. The energy this guy's going to take away from you. Like, is your business built on crappy people?
No.
No. So why would you continue building a business built on crappy people?
Yeah, true.
Like,
Yeah,
I cannot stress enough how, for me, I had people I spent a lot of money on, Akhi. A lot of money on. Not just people, like systems I've spent a lot of money on. Like, imagine me being attached to a software because of how much money I spent on that software. Point is, what I ended up realizing was that I had to ask myself the honest question of what am I willing to build my business on? If I'm willing to build my business on shaky foundations, I'm willing to work with people who just drain me, who need to be coached. I don't know about you guys. I don't like I don't like having a big team. That's not what I want. My vision for the business isn't a big team. It's very streamlined, right? And so I asked myself this question. It's like, can I hire somebody who I don't need to coach loads? That's my goal. I don't want to coach people loads. I don't want to do that. So I want to build the business the way that I want to build it. And that comes from hiring people who already have some sort of experience. So
Cool.
hopefully that makes sense, Yunus Akhi,
It
when it
does.
comes to that.
It does. And I actually have a interview right now. So I want to jump on that, inshallah, hire him and build the business on good foundations and good people. So yeah.
Allah.
Jazakallah khair, Habibi. Have a good night.
Yeah, hopefully the interview goes well. All right, Juan, any other questions? Should I finish off my curry that I made the other day?
No, I'm gonna go, man. I wanna go eat.
Yeah, inshallah khair. Enjoy your food, Habibi. Allahumma yaqbal minnak siyamak.
Yuck. I'll see you in the next call, inshallah.
Inshallah. All right, Juan, well, let's make the dua before we go. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanak Allahumma bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Take care of yourselves, Juan. Assalamu alaikum. I'll speak to you soon, inshallah.
Wa alaikum assalam.